Welcome to Small Caps. My name's Kerry Stevenson. Today I'm speaking with Keith McKnight. Now, last time I spoke with Keith was in April of this year. He was the CEO of Group 6 Metals. ASX code is G6M. Just had to look down there for a second. G6M, ASX code. Today, I'm speaking with Keith McKnight as the newly crowned Managing Director and CEO. So right now, they've got the Tungsten mine down there in Tasmania at a really interesting time. This is high grade, low risk tungsten. It's getting into production. And I think the last time we spoke, Keith said to me, first quarter next year for production to commence. So I thought we'd go for a little bit of an update. Keith, welcome back. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having us back on, Kerry. It's good to be back.
So Keith, you in your new role as MD and CEO, what changes?
I think day to day, not a lot, but look, being invited onto the board is, it's a very high privilege for me, and I'm very glad that they considered me worthy to go on the board. So I think, look, it just helped me to kind of drive strategy, give me a bit more confidence driving the company strategy forward on a day-to-day basis. I still work very closely with Johan Jacobs, the chairman. But it's a board of high caliber, and I'm very fortunate that I've been invited on, and I can learn from these guys day to day and help execute strategy for the company.
Well, that brings me nicely into talk to us about the strategy. Talk to us about from April until now, what's been done and what's the strategy moving forward. What I'm looking for is, I guess, that what can investors hope to see from the value, what's coming out?
Well, I've just come back actually from King Island last night, so I was down with the team on site there for the last few days. So it's a hive of activity at the moment. We're working on multiple fronts where we've got work that started on the tailings storage facility there over the last month. So they're very busy up the northern end of the site. Our process plant installation is accelerating nicely at the moment. We've completed the primary and secondary crushing and screening areas installation, and we're moving down the process stream as we go along. We've erected the main process shed where the material is going to be dressed and dried and bagged. So we're making really good progress on the project at the moment, and I suppose investors can look forward to regular updates, and I think the landscape and the look of the site is going to change significantly over the next few months.
Still confident of meeting that timeline of first quarter next year for production?
Yes, we are. Yeah, I think we'll have most of the mechanical installation and electrical installation completed towards the end of the year, early next year, and that'll put us in a good position to commission the plant early next year, and still on track for that kind of first concentrate production in March.
Where is that first concentrate production going? Has it all been taken up with Offtake at the moment, or are you still working on who your customers long-term are?
Yeah, look, we've executed 2 offtake agreements, one with WBH, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Sandvik, and they're based in Austria. So they've signed up for 20% of our production over the first 4 years. And then we've also have a contract with Traxys, which is a world renowned commodity trader based in Luxembourg, and they're taking approximately 50%. So we've got about 70% of our first 4 years of production under contract. They are take or pay arrangements, so it pretty much underwrites about $200 million worth of revenue over the first 4 years.
Well, that's nice indeed. Are you fully funded to get into that production first quarter next year?
Look, we're currently undertaking a review of our capital requirements. We've managed to avoid all the major escalation because we placed orders for our long lead items in the middle of last year. If you remember, we discussed that when we last spoke. So look, we've avoided major escalation, but we're not immune from it. We are reviewing and trying to defer some parts of our capital expenditure to minimize that escalation. So look, that's constantly under review, and at the moment we're sufficiently funded for the next period.
The tungsten market at the moment, Keith, it's a critical mineral.
Yes.
You've got 70% of your first 4 years of production taken up by 2 customers. Talk to us more about the macro market for tungsten. Is the price getting stronger, or is it weakened a little bit, come off? How does that impact? What's your view on the big picture?
Well, I mean, if I talk about price, first of all, I mean, on the back of kind of the economic slowdown, with COVID, the price since June 2020 has increased about 75%. So it's kind of sitting around $200 per MTU of APT. And that has gone now sitting around $340, $345 dollars per MTU, which is kind of sitting around 8-year highs. So the price has remained strong and it's sitting stably at that 340 to 345 for the past kind of 6 to 8 weeks. So I think the pricing, it has remained stable and it's looking very positive into the end of the year and early next year. Regarding the macro situation around tungsten concentrate supply, what we've seen is that a lot of the lower grade operations in Europe, particularly Spain, have postponed their production. And the reason is that lower grade operations have to actually process more material, and those processes are highly leveraged against energy.
Yeah,
and as we're all probably aware at the moment, with the natural gas prices where they are in Europe at the moment, those operations have become unsustainable. So kind of what we're forecasting, or our opinion going into 2023, is that there's material coming out of the market. There's a number of projects that were slated to come online in early 23, like Dolphin, who have been delayed. So I think we're seen as probably the only realistic new supply coming online in the first half of 2023.
What happens with the rest of your 30%? You said that you've got 70% with the offtake. Are you deliberately not looking for a customer for that because you think maybe the market's going to change, it's going to get stronger? What's the strategy around that?
Look, we are in discussions with potential offtake, new offtake partners. We probably would like to look to place another 20% of material potentially, which would sit us kind of around that 85-90%. We don't really want to go to 100% nameplate production on take or pay arrangements. We prefer to allow some flexibility if there's any hiccups in the operation. But look, those discussions are evolving. We're in no particular hurry right now. Potentially later this year or early next year, we might seek to place another 20% of the material.
All right. So that's the Dolphin tungsten mine. How much more? How long is that? What's the mine life like there? And how do you expand from that?
Yeah, well, we've currently got 14 years of mine life, and that's underwritten by reserves. And the reserves are well understood. The company historically has gone back and reconciled the old data from the previous operators of the mine, and that's all reconciled really well. So we've got a high degree of confidence around that 14 years of mine life. Some of our viewers might have seen that we were awarded a grant by EDGI, which is the Tasmanian State Government Exploration Initiative, and we received a grant for $75,000 to contribute towards direct exploration expenses. So we've got plans to go and do some regional exploration in October this year. We've got 67 square kilometers of exploration lease surrounding the Dolphin project. It's a huge area. It's significantly underexplored, and therefore, there's a big regional exploration program that we need to undertake. Once we get the Dolphin project up and running, we get into positive cash flow. And we imagine we'll be able to undertake that drilling kind of around this time, or plan for it around this time next year. But going back to the exploration we're going to do in October, this is an area that we drilled in 2018, and we had some very interesting WO3 intersections. We're going back there. We're going to do a 4 to 5 hole program, and we're going to try and test the extent of those intersections that we had in 2018. So I think there's some potentially exciting exploration news on the horizon as well.
You mentioned that the grant was $75,000. Forgive me, Keith. Doesn't sound like that goes a very long way.
Oh, look, every bit helps, Kerry. Look, I think our budget will be significantly bigger than that. These are cored holes, which are more expensive than RC holes. So look, it every bit helps, but look, we're very happy to have that support. It's a regional program, and I think it's a very good initiative to encourage companies like Group 6 Metals to go out and undertake that exploration and try to find, I suppose, reserves beyond the initial 14 years of mine life at Dolphin.
Being that you're in the wonderful, by the way, I love Tasmania. It is a fantastic place. Is it difficult to get rigs? Is it difficult to get people? What are your challenges working within Tasmania, or is it easier than working up here on the mainland?
Okay, there are challenges with logistics on King Island, especially around this time of the year when the weather is not as good as it is in the summertime. We have experienced delays getting vessels into Grassy Harbour. They're not long delays; it's a few days at a time. I think the challenge really for us around exploration is we need to wait until the paddocks dry out. We don't really want to have heavy equipment in the paddocks this time of year because they're quite wet. So, it's preferable for us to drill, October through to February, March. I think logistically it's not a major challenge. It's just the conditions on the ground really that we have to manage. And also, you really want to be doing bigger exploration programs because, with the costs of mobilizing rigs to King Island, you kind of want to offset those expenses over a bigger program rather than a smaller one.
Yeah, so it really is about the logistics of making sure that you've got all the, I guess, excuse the pun, the ducks in a row to make sure that the program is extended, you do it right, and then you can let the guys go again.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
So why does the regional exploration excite you? Why do you think that that's going to deliver investor value, if you like?
Well, I mean, I suppose, while we're fully focused on Dolphin, in 14 years is a long time to have some mine life, we do have additional capacity in the process plant as well. So if we were to find a satellite deposit, we could potentially supplement material from Dolphin and increase the throughput through the process plant. So that's an exciting kind of opportunity as well. So look, I mean, at today's prices, we'd like to have more material going through the plant, obviously, so, we can increase the profitability of the company. But, certainly the fact that it's such a large area, 67 square kilometers, and historically, when we have intersected mineralization, it's been higher grade, similar to Dolphin, and even as high as 1.27%, which is, considerably higher than the average grade at Dolphin, which is about 0.9%. So we're excited about the potential. We're very confident that we can, find another Dolphin or Dolphin number 2. So, but, that's going to take a bit of time and a bit of drilling. So look, our first focus is to get Dolphin into, positive cash flow, which we're fully confident we can do in the second half of next year.
We've talked tungsten a lot, 67 square kilometers. It's not immaterial. Do you think there's other minerals in the area, or are you just focused on tungsten?
Look, potentially, there are other minerals. It's a highly mineralized area, but for the moment we're just focused on tungsten. But outside of Dolphin and King Island, we're also, we've got ambition to go and acquire other projects as well. We have looked at some projects this year. They weren't exactly the right projects for the company at this stage of our development. But, as we move through commissioning and into production next year, I think we'll have an eye firmly on other opportunities locally in Tasmania and throughout Australia, but not limit ourselves either.
I was just about to say, are you just focusing down there, or are you going to focus globally for acquisitions? Is now a good time to do that?
Yeah, look, we will have it. We're not limiting ourselves. I mean, we would probably, we know Australia, we know the local region. It's a good jurisdiction to do business in. The Tasmanian state government have been very supportive of the Dolphin project. So, I mean, potentially if we can find an opportunity locally, then that potentially could make sense. And we should also try to leverage our expertise in tungsten as well. As we move through this, we're going to gain a lot of valuable knowledge on tungsten processing. That adds to our already existing base of knowledge. So, Yeah, look, there's many opportunities. I mean, we can really use, Dolphin, we believe, will be a highly profitable operation at today's prices. So, that could give us a springboard into a pretty exciting expansion phase.
How do you address the concerns, I guess, that people might have, the sort of the ESG? It's on everybody's lips. Sometimes I agree, sometimes I don't. But it's where you are. Are there any challenges with that, or is that all pretty straightforward? Because this is a former mine, isn't it? This was mine.
It is, yeah. It's a historic operation. I mean, it operated from 1917 through to 1990 when it closed. It closed in 1990 due to kind of sustained low tungsten prices. To put that in context, the price was 1/7 of what it is today.
Wow.
So you can imagine the guys back then were under significant pressure to keep the operation going. And because it's a brownfield, even though it was rehabilitated and closed, it is kind of like a brownfield site, development site. Historically, it's proven that it can operate with minimum impact on the local environment down there. We're committed to continue that. We've committed 35 hectares, I believe, to land conservation to protect habitat for local flora and fauna down on King Island surrounding the project. So look, we're committed to ESG. I mean, the other aspect of ESG too is making sure that the local community and Tasmania as a state benefits from the project. So we've prioritized local contractors, we're prioritizing local residential labor. And look, we're pretty proud that we can make that contribution to King Island and to Tasmania.
Keith, I'm just curious, how many people are on site at the moment? How big an operation is it? Is it at the moment as you lead into production, and then does that then fall away a little bit once construction's all finished and you're underway?
Yeah, look, we're not quite at peak construction at the moment. We'll probably peak at about 100 to 110 people on site. So I expect that will happen over the next kind of 4 to 5 weeks since we get our electricians on site and you get a few more people on site. But look, that'll probably whittle down to about 70 full-time employment positions for the operation when it's steady state. So it'll be a significant contributor to the local economy down there.
This is completely aside. Keith, do you ever go down there and just have a little bit of fun as down in Tasmania? It's a great part of the world.
Yeah, look, actually, my family and I went down to Tasmania in January this year for the first time, and then on the back of that, I did my first site visit. I love Tasmania. It reminds me of home. It's even the architecture and
Really?
everything down there feels very homely for me because I grew up on the west coast of Ireland, so it does feel very familiar. I'm taking my family down to King Island the week after next for the Queensland school holidays. Just wanted to show them what we're doing down there because I'm very proud of what we're achieving down there. So I just like my kids and my wife to have a look around, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do some exploration around King Island as well.
He doesn't mean mining exploration. He means exploration with the kids.
Yes, exactly.
Keith, you know how I like to finish these up. We kind of want to wrap it up with a bow and just say to people that, look, it's an investor audience out there. They're really keen to figure out whether now's a good time, as you're coming into production. 3 reasons why you think that right now, given what's going on with the company, which is very good, and I congratulate you, by the way, on that steady delivery as you get into final production. What are the 3 reasons you think now's a good time?
Oh, look, I think the opportunity is now. I mean, our share price has been trading steadily between 21 and 23 cents. I think it's probably, an opportunity to get in at a good valuation of the company as we progress, into the rest of the year and we continue to de-risk the project. I think, the way our strategy the way we've approached it is certainly a de-risk strategy, a simple process flow sheet. We've got a good EPC contractor on site delivering in accordance with the schedule and the plan. And look, we're going into, I think, very strong market conditions for tungsten. The price has been holding very, very steady. The forecast is for a 10% increase in tungsten demand for 2022. And I think we're tracking against that well. It's a critical mineral, as you pointed out earlier. It's essential to our everyday lives, and it's everywhere around us. It's when you go to Bunnings and buy a drill bit to hang a picture at home on your wall. That bit has tungsten carbide on it. So I think it's a very exciting time to be for this project. And look, while we don't like to reflect on it too much, like the geopolitical tension around the world with the Ukraine conflict and China and the their intentions around Taiwan, and I suppose the supply constraints that we've seen that were highlighted by COVID. I think it's very important that we have a safe supply of tungsten in a good jurisdiction like Australia. So I think we're moving into a very exciting period.
Well, congratulations, because last time we spoke, you said, look, we'll get into production first quarter 23. He's still on track, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody who just knows how to methodically go there, get the job done. Congratulations on your appointment as Managing Director as well. So Managing Director and CEO of Group 6 Metals, ASX code is G6M. Check them out. Do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. But for now, thanks for joining me on Small Caps.
Thanks, Kerry.